trust inside and outside of the Department of Defense and around the world. Today I'm going to create a new term, and all of you are vitally important to it, because if you look to your right and you look to your left, you will see the Global Marv Network. I've spent the last 42 years of my life building it, and it is designed to deliver love, create happiness, build faith, multiply friendships, fun, respect, and deliver results. Thank you all for being a part of it, a key part of it. Thank you very much. I got to tell you, I knew it was going to be a weird feeling. I knew it was going to be a weird feeling standing in front of all my family and friends for the last time in uniform, but a weird does not even begin to capture the feeling that it is standing up here in front of all the folks that mean so much to me. It's humbling, it's a little bit frightening, and it's pretty awesome. So thank you again. About a year ago, many of you know, on my way home, I live about an hour north of here, and every day I drive an hour in. Sometimes I drive an hour, sometimes I drive 2 hours home, but I use the time in the evenings to make phone calls. A lot of phone calls. I probably make anywhere between 30 and 50 phone calls a week on my way home. And I do that as a way to keep my global Marv network energized and keep the connections tied and keep the relationships alive. And many of the folks here regularly receive those emails, phone calls, or texts because you guys are what this is all about. This day is not about me, it's about you, and that's my way of just keeping us close. One of the guys I regularly talk to is here today, and his name's Commander Retired Pat Blesh and his wife Dee, and I talk to him quite frequently, actually. And we talked, and I was bouncing off the idea, hey, I think I'm going to retire, and he was saying, what are you doing? You got 4 kids, the economy's bad, but you'll know when the time is right, when you finally decide to pull the trigger and submit your papers and to get out of the Navy, you'll know. And I'm here to tell you, Pat, you know, he just retired about a year and a half to 2 years ago, and Pat, you were right. You were exactly right, Pat. I knew the time is right for me, and I'm excited and happy, and I have an awesome life. So, and I'm glad you're all here. When I first started thinking about, hey, I'm going to be sitting up here for 10 minutes, trying to, say something that's important. I had no idea. Thousands of things went through my mind. I woke up many a night and rolled over and nudged Victoria and said, "Are you awake? Are you awake?" And she wasn't. And when she was, she said, "Yeah, I am now." And she said, "Why are you still awake?" And I said, there's a million things racing through my mind. And when I say that, I look over at my buddies and I look at the admirals, because right now they're thinking there's no way a million things could ever be racing through that guy's mind. But I had a lot of ideas, and I laid awake many nights thinking what I want to say. And about 3 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, Victoria and Tanner and I were sitting in front of the TV, and it was March Madness Selection Sunday. And we were watching all the pundits say, Gonzaga's going all the way, and Kansas is a shoe-in, and all these different things. And we were, Tanner's a big basketball player, and we were commiserating about it. And so we sat there and we got real tied into it. And right after the Selection Sunday came on, one of the ESPN 30 by 30 exposés come on, and it was called Survive and Advance. And it was the story of the 1983 North Carolina State men's basketball team and their Cinderella run to the national championship. And it really highlighted their coach Jim Valvano and his long and arduous fight against cancer. And that story really resonated with me. And I can't tell you, we sat there on the couch and we laughed and we cried. And when that story was over, I really knew what I was going to talk about, because I feel like I've survived and advanced. And I'm ready. I'm ready for the second chapter, and I'm fired up, and it's going to be great. We're going to have a ball. And I assure you that whenever you say survive and advance, none of my advancement skills had anything to do with my basketball skills, as my son can attest, or my golf skills, which many of you can attest, or my professional abilities, because the folks that have worked for me over the last 12 months and 20 months and 5 years and 20 years, many of who are here today, know that my success is out there in those seats. And as Stu knows, and every leader here knows, that the success of any person is relied on those around us. any leader depends on those around us, and my success is due to hundreds of people just like you who have motivated me, mentored me, sacrificed me over the years. And Coach Valvano was loved by his team. He was known for rousing, emotional pregame speeches and comical postgame interviews. But other than that 1983 national championship speech, or national championship, he is remembered best for his inspirational acceptance speech at the inaugural ESPN ESPY Awards in 1993. The ESPY Awards, for those of you that don't know, are kind of like the Oscars for sports. It was a big deal, and at the time, the coach was ate up with bone cancer, and he could barely walk up the stairs to receive the first inaugural Arthur Ashe Courage and Humanitarian Award. And his speech included the following quote that I'd like to share today. Coach Valvano said, "To me, there are three things we should all do every day. We should do this every day of our lives. Number one is laugh. You should laugh every day. Number two is think. You should spend some time in thought. And number three is you should have your emotions move to tears. It could be sadness, happiness, or joy. Every day. But think about it. If you laugh, you think, and you cry, that's a full day. That's a heck of a day. And you do that 7 days a week, you're going to have something special." So we've been doing some laughing, and undoubtedly I will probably do some crying. And I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I'm having a wild ride. So please, that's an important quote. In addition to this profound quote, Coach V often talked about the importance of dreaming big, laughing, hoping, loving, and taking the time to do all of these things with all of your heart. You each took the time, and I repeat, the time to be here today with us. And we're going to laugh and enjoy this time together. And you could all be a lot of other places today. There's a lot of work to be done inside that big building. And many of you drove and traveled a long, long way. My friend Bob Weir flew 21 hours from New Zealand. My friend Gert John Apeldoorn, who's sitting right next to him, flew 22 hours from Holland to be here today with me and my family, and I'm incredibly honored, guys. Thank you so very much. But, time is a valuable gift, and I appreciate it more than you will ever know that you have given it to me today. We're here at this location, thank goodness for the weather, and I specifically chose this location for a very, very important reason to me. For those of you that don't know, almost 14 years ago today, this memorial was dedicated to the thousands of special operations men and women who frequently, and I repeat frequently, daily, hourly, risk their lives, and many of them have given their lives defending our freedom. These heroes, often by design, regularly by design, go unnoticed and unheralded. And having served for the last 5 years with many of these men and women, I can honestly say that they are an amazing part of our military, and they are what they are part of, and they're an exemplary example of what makes our nation so great. So my hat's off to each of you warriors, and I thank you for allowing me to walk alongside you. Working within your ranks has been one of the highlights of my career. There are many other heroes in today's crowd, some military, others not. And they are my heroes, and since today is my day, I'm going to recognize them. Mr. Dwayne Biggs is here from Texas, and Dwayne is my oldest friend. Everyone should have in high school a friend that they have had since childhood, and Dwayne is mine. Thanks for being here, Bigger. Commanders Tom Frosch, Commander Dan Dunaway, Lieutenant Colonel Kevin Kennedy, and Mr. Tony Salgado and Mark Bagliotti. These men might as well be my brothers. They're Naval Academy classmates who I've known for 25 years, and they are guys I would do anything for. Truly my family, fellas. Rear Admiral Scott Hebner is unable to be here today. He's the best afloat commanding officer I've ever had, an inspirational leader, and now an incredibly close friend. So I wanted to mention Scott. Mr. Bobby Reeder. About 7 years ago, Bobby Reeder saved my life on a golf course. I knew my golf game was bad, but Bobby had absolutely no idea what he was getting into that day. Bobby, I will always be in your debt. Always. Chief Rondé Harris. And I'm going to talk about Rondé, but I'm going to talk about Rondé in a little bit of general terms. Every good officer has an outstanding, and I repeat, an outstanding non-commissioned officer, and in my kit, right behind them, cleaning up their messes, serving as an advisor, partner, and many cases a friend. And I will tell you, having served 2 decades in our military, the United States military's non-commissioned officer corps is the best in the world. And Rhonda Harris has been an example. He's been a friend. He's cleaned up a lot of messes. He's given me a lot of advice. And like Sergeant Major Ferris, and the Admiral can attest, there's no greater asset for any leader than having a right hand. And Rhonda, I appreciate you and your family being here. Captain Retired Carl Rao, Mr. Mitch Palmquist, Miss Deborah Russell, and Mr. Daryl Smith. Each of these individuals have absolutely no idea the impact they have had on me. Their unswerving faith in Jesus Christ has inspired me to be a better man every day. Thank each of you. Jim McDougall. Jim, I simply wanted to publicly say how much your mentoring has meant to me. It's not every day a successful Tampa businessman answers a cold call request from a guy he barely knows and gives so much time, gives so much of himself to guide and mentor him through a significant transition in his life. You did, and I'm grateful. Mr. Osterwald did the same thing, as did Vice Admiral mcguire, and their insight has been invaluable. Sir. Colonel Stu Braden, Mark Rosengard, and Sergeant Major Retired Rick Lamb. I've never met 3 men with more vision, passion, and drive than these 3, ever. And it has been my honor to walk alongside them. They are each truly American heroes, and men I am fortunate to call my friends. There are many, many others today, some here, some not, who I count as heroes, and could tell countless stories about they have each improved my life, but I'll spare you all the time. Before getting to the most important part, I want to talk about Coach V's emphasis on the value of time. A few of you here know that I've talked about the value of time at other significant events in our life, but the message is also applicable today. Time is a subject that I'm very, very serious about. And if you remember only one thing about today's ceremony, one thing, I hope that it's not that the event was too long, or that I fumbled a speech, or possibly even shed a tear. I hope you remember how honored that I am that you chose to give me your time. There is absolutely no greater gift. And I want each of you, and I strongly encourage each of you to think about that every day when dealing with your family, your friends, and coworkers. Always do what matters most. Always. And finally, and most importantly, I want to recognize and thank my wife and kids. They are my motivation and the source of my happiness. My wife, Victoria, is undoubtedly the person most responsible for my success. She is an amazing and beautiful woman, and being married to her for the last 20 years has made me a better man every single day. We have faced some pretty serious challenges over the years, honey, and overcome every one, and we're stronger for it. I'm so happy that we're married, and I look forward to charting a new course with you. Kids, I love each of you very much. I am truly the luckiest guy in the world. I knew I wasn't going to make it. All right. I'm going to try to end this with an inspirational quote from some famous person, but I cannot find one that I liked or truly captured how I feel. So just let me say this. My career has been filled with the highest highs and the lowest lows, and I have cherished every single one because they have all left a mark, made me stronger and more appreciative of people like each of you. Each of you. I've been privileged to serve alongside giants my entire career, whether they are giants of leadership, friendship, character, leadership, vision, courage, love. You all made me better, and I'm eternally grateful. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for this wonderful ceremony, and go Navy.